Hi friends, my name is Amber and this is a Lovely Yarn podcast. Thank you for joining me today. Today is Tuesday, September 12th. Yes, we're mid-September already. I have my window open, so you're probably hearing the sound of cicadas. Cicadas are a very nostalgic sound to me. So they always start in August, like mid-August, and to me, they always are the first indicator of summer ending. So yeah, and these are not the cicadas that are like every, 17 years you have the cicadas that come up out of the ground and just wreak havoc on everything, which we had that. Oh, I forget how many years ago it was now, but I remember they just wreaked havoc on my garden. And it was back when I had chickens still, because I remember feeding them to my chickens. My chickens would just love the cicadas. But these are like the ones we get every year. There's just a few of them, and I have seen them in my garden, but they're not enough to cause damage. So have the window open. You're probably going to hear that as some ambiance, as well as maybe some birds and crickets. So, I think we're just starting into our fall weather. It was pretty warm last week, and I think it's like low 70s this week. So for Western Pennsylvania, I would say that's pretty normal for, the beginning of September. So this podcast is a knitting podcast. I also sometimes talk about crochet projects that I'm working on because I also crochet. And today I have so many finished objects. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 6 finished objects, which is crazy. I also have a guest appearance, and I also want to talk about a knit along that I'm going to be co-hosting. So that I will talk about towards the end of the episode. And I'm going to talk about all my finished objects first. Now, let me just say, I had intended a while back, I said, I'm going to post a video every week. Every Monday or Tuesday, I'm going to post a video because I really like having a weekly schedule for my podcasting. And I do, but it has been so very busy. And I know everyone is busy, but it has just been, I have been out a lot. I've been out of the house a lot. I've been appointments, so many appointments for some reason, of just different kinds of appointments, and then just the garden stuff still trying to preserve because I don't want things to go to waste. It's just been so very busy, and I've been knitting because I always make that a priority, but taking time to film is not even though I really enjoy doing it and I enjoy the community that I have gained through podcasting, it's not like one of my top priorities in my life currently because there's so many other things going on. And my family and my home are always my first priority, so I will not, like, that's a non-negotiable for me. So I just want to put that out there because I did say I'm going to podcast every week, and I'm thinking perhaps that will be a possibility here once we get more into the fall and, I'm not outside as much. The garden is pretty much all put to bed for the winter, and I'm not running around as much with so many different things. So that, I just want to say, I know you guys are very understanding, and I also realize I don't have to explain myself, but I just wanted to put that out there because I do enjoy the weekly podcasting schedule, and I have lots of ideas. I've been working on a colorwork episode, like for colorwork sweaters, which I think I've mentioned that in the past. I have, I'm just gathering information on that because I really love knitting colorwork sweaters. I have an episode of knit vests because after my last episode where I talked about 5 different vests that I was thinking about making, you guys had also mentioned and recommended a lot of other vests in the comment section, so I took notes of that, and I'm pulling together a bundle for that to do a special episode on that. And which I wanted to, maybe I should just tell you what I decided with that. So I've decided, and I've already purchased the vest number 2, I think it was. Hold on, let me look back. Yes, so vest number 2 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and I've decided to do that one. I've already purchased the pattern and printed it out, and I'm just trying to figure out the yarn for that. I think I may have what I want to use, but I don't know for certain yet because I don't know if I'm going to have enough. So I need to figure that out. I need to do a little bit more reading of the project pages on Ravelry to see, you know how sometimes a pattern will tell you you need this much yardage, but then when you actually knit the pattern you end up using way less. So that's my thing. I don't know that I have enough of these 2 skeins, and I don't want to buy more yarn if I can use what I have. So I'm going to do that one, and I have to knit that Rosenlund. It's actually a top. It's by Sari Nordlund, but I want to wear it as a vest. It's the lacy one with the cables. I'll pop a picture in of both of these. I have to knit that. Like, I have to. I love that so much. And it's going to be, like, I'm pretty sure that the vest number 2 is going to be a really fast knit because it's just basically stockinette once you finish the top portions. The Rosenlund is definitely going to take more time because it's a lot of lace and cables, but that's okay. I want that so badly. And the Kelborn Woolens Scout in the natural color is what I think I'm going to use for that. Although I did just find another potential option, and I'm pretty sure it was Juniper Moon Farms. Yes, they're Patagonia, which is an organic merino, which is actually quite... You get more yardage for a more, like a cheaper price, and it's still a really nice yarn. So I may end up knitting it with that instead. Again, still researching on that. So that's the update on that. And you may hear people in the background because this is my life. I'm home, and so is my family. So yeah, that's just how it is here. We keep things real on this podcast. So this is my basket. This is my basket, and it's full. It's packed full of my finished objects that I'm going to talk to you guys about today. First thing I finished my Ingrid. Yay! It's done. It is done. It's finished, and I actually really like it. It's already blocked. This is knit with Cascade 220. Let me show you. I have 1 skein left. 220 Superwash. Okay. So, in this color, I'll put all the information down below like I always do. All the information for all the links for the patterns, I will put the yarn down below. I don't typically link the yarn because that's just, you can buy yarn multiple places depending on where you live. So I don't usually link that. I will mention any Instagram accounts I mention, or also my emails down there, as well as my Instagram. My Instagram account is linked down there, as well as my coffee account. Okay, but anyway, this will be linked down below with the color name. But it's a really beautiful teal color. I think it's like heathered, see? Got the greens and the blues. I really like this yarn. I think it's a very soft yarn. My daughter absolutely loved this sweater when she saw me working on it. And so when I had it almost completely finished, as mothers do, I was willing to give it to her. Even though I really wanted it myself. I knew, because she's been talking about it the whole time I've been knitting it. And I've been working on this since, I think, last fall. So I told her, you can have it. But she tried it on, and it's a little itchy on her, which it's not the least bit itchy or scratchy. It's not scratchy at all to me. She's extremely sensitive, so I think that's why. But I think this is a really nice yarn. It's a soft yarn, and then it's also superwash. So because of that, though, and I talked about this a bit in my last episode, I did knit a smaller size than what my measurements called for, because I thought I know Superwash really stretches out, and I don't want to be stuck with a sweater that is just way too oversized. And this, I would say this pattern is oversized. It is a drop shoulder. So I'll put a video in of me with it on. So on the side so that you can kind of see what it looks like on. And it's just a really big, cozy sweater. Now, will I knit this again? I will not knit this again as it's written in the pattern because I talked about this multiple times, so I don't want to get into it too much. But in case you're new here, this is by Petite Knit, by the way, and I've knit a lot of her patterns. However, she did not include the decreases in the chart for the sleeve, and that absolutely drove me crazy when I got to this diamond section here, because I had to figure out how to put them in, and it's a mess along. I'm not even gonna look at that. I'm not even gonna look at that because it makes me so unhappy, and I've heard other people complain about it, and then on Ravelry though, most people had no problem with it, or at least they didn't mention it. I did not like that. I want a paid for pattern doesn't have to hold my hand, but I want it to work decreases into a chart. If it's just plain knitting, or easy knitting, that's not a big deal. But when you have a texture and I think these are supposed to be like faux cables. So when you have that in a pattern and I'm paying you to design that pattern, and this is not me necessarily digging on her, because I've knit a lot of her patterns, but I just want that worked in. So I will not knit this again as it's written. However, I had a couple of you viewers mention this, and I had thought about it as well, but if I wanted to reknit this pattern, because I really enjoyed the body portion, I really enjoyed it. It was not a slog for me at all. It was a lot of variety. You can see it's got different sections. It went by really quickly. I like the mock turtleneck type thing going on up here. But I had a viewer mention knitting the sleeves in moss stitch because then the decreasing would be super easy. And then I also had someone recommend knitting the sleeves in just plain stockinette. And I would definitely do that. I would do that next time. Now there is here, I don't think I talked about this last time because I couldn't remember because it had been so long since I worked on the first sleeve, but just so you know, if you're knitting this or if you're thinking about knitting this, you do have short rows in this sleeve here, which is why it goes from like this more narrow to a more wide band. But again, short rows would be easy as well if you're working that in. The short rows weren't hard at all with this texture, but they would certainly be very easy with just plain stockinette or moss stitch as well. So yes, I love it. I love the yarn I chose. I love this color. But I didn't love the sleeve decreases because they just drove me crazy, and I'm not happy with that section of the sleeves, but I'm leaving it because I literally was just like, I just want to have this done. I want to finish it. So it is what it is on the sleeves. Okay. Do I have anything else to say? No, I don't think so. So yeah, that is that. And it's all ready to wear now once it gets cool enough to wear it. Okay, the next sweater, I actually showed you guys this last week, so I'm not actually showing you the sweater, but I want to show you the buttons. And this is the Felix cardigan by Amy Christophers. I talked about this last time, so if you want to see more details about this, go to episode 59 because I talk about the details as far as like the needle size, the size that I knit. And I will just say real quick, this is Yarn Bee Rustic Romance. Yes, in the Okie Wheat colorway. I really love it. It's such a happy, cheerful color. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned this last week either, but I knit the button band a little bit more narrow than what she said to do because the way that the pattern was written, it was going to be like a lot wider, and I didn't want it real wide. But anyway, this is, I'm gonna knit another one of these Felix cardigans. I really like it. There is another cardigan that's called the Rosa cardigan that maybe I will knit instead of this, and it is a V-neck, but it has the same increases along the sleeve, and I think it may be written for a lighter weight yarn, and it's more fitted. So it is a bit more fitted. I'm going to make a note to kind of, I'll post it down below. I'll post a link to the Rosa cardigan down below so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so these are the buttons that I got. These are by Haulin Hoof Farmstore. These are handmade ceramic buttons. I haven't even taken them off the card. The plan was to have these actually stitched onto my cardigan before I filmed, but that just did not happen. So you're just going to see them and know that these, this was a pack of 8. I only need 6 for my cardigan, so I will have 2 left over to use elsewhere, but they are a really pretty light teal color. Is it getting it? I hope. So yeah, they're going to be perfect. I think they're going to, let me hold them up. That is exactly what I wanted. And I had a cart full of all different buttons whenever I was trying to figure out which ones I really wanted, and this is what it came down to. Now, a couple of you had mentioned about, you know, are you going, because this is a Superwash yarn. It's an acrylic and a, what is that, Donegal nap? Let me look. It doesn't say. It has acrylic and something else in it. And a couple of you had mentioned in the comments when I said about ceramic buttons, you had mentioned that I may lose my ability to throw this in the wash. So I hadn't thought about that, to be honest. So I went onto their website and I was reading, and these are they are safe for in the washing machine. They just recommended turning the garment inside out and then also putting it, I think they said to put it in like a lingerie bag, which I have multiples of those because when I used to have alpacas, that's how I would wash their fleece. I would put it in those like lingerie bags with the holes in them. So I have lots of those. So that's what I'm going to do. If I decide to wash this, which I may end up just hand washing it because that's honestly how I knit, or how I wash almost all of my knits, except maybe some pairs of socks. I'm not worried about it. I'm just really happy with these. I love them so much. They have so many beautiful buttons, so many unique buttons that you're not going to just get anywhere. And I also looked on Etsy to see if I could find some buttons that I wanted. I wanted special buttons. And I just couldn't find anything. Even I found some vintage buttons, but then I was like, I think I'm going to get tired of those because they had like this floral print on them. And I thought, I think I just need to stick to the ceramic buttons. So I did. I ordered them. They came super fast. And I'm really super happy with them. And I actually have something else from Haulin Hoof Farm that I'm going to be talking about here in a few minutes. Okay, that's 2 of 6 projects. This next thing I'm going to go through real quick because there's not much to tell you. I've shown these to you before, but these are my But First coffee socks by Deb of Knit On Designs. I finished them up. And I talked about these more in my previous podcast, so I just want to show them. Not going to really talk about them too much. I just want to mention, I think the only thing different I did from how Deb had the pattern written was that I did a 2x2 ribbing instead of a 1x1, just because I like how, let me pull these off. I like how a 2x2 cinches in. I didn't block these. I was going to, but I didn't. I think these are going to go to my daughter, Lily, because she walked in my bedroom this morning. I had them laying on my bed, and she's like, oh, I want these socks. They're so cute. And she does that with most socks that I make. She got I gave her the September Woods socks that I shared in the last episode. Those are now Lily's socks, and these may become Lily's socks as well. This was I used Flower Hill Fleeces, Farm Fresh Eggs for the contrast color, and then this really beautiful orangey, golden orangey, pumpkin-y color is a yarn by Cozy Posy Yarn Co. that I do not know what the name of it was. I don't have the band for the yarn, but I do want to say that I knit in total 3 pairs of socks using these 2 yarns, and I knit 2 pairs of shorties and then 1 regular length. And so I still have, like, I don't know, maybe 10 grams of each color left over that I threw in to put in my garter stitch blanket that I'm working on. So that was really exciting to be able to make 3 pairs of socks out of 2 skeins of yarn. I feel like I did a really good job with managing and using my yarn. So that's always exciting when I can do that. I always get really excited. And Deb, I love Deb's sock patterns. She has beautiful textured sock patterns. She also has a lot of dishcloth patterns if you like to knit dishcloths. I do knit dishcloths, but I knit them purely for utilitarian purposes. I just knit them to use. And so I don't really knit pretty dishcloths. I just use, like, I think it's called Grandma's Favorite Dishcloth or something like that. I just knit that because it's fast, it's easy, and I'm just literally going to be washing dishes or wiping counters with them. So I don't care to have pretty dishcloths, but if you do, or maybe, okay, I would knit a pretty dishcloth if I was giving it to someone as like a housewarming gift or something like that. Deb has a lot of really beautiful dishcloth patterns as well. So socks and dishcloth, and I think she has maybe some other patterns on there too, but you should check out her Etsy shop. Or I'm sorry, she's on Etsy and Ravelry. And she also has trio sets of the socks. So like this was 1 pattern of 3. This was her, it's like some sort of coffee trio. And then I think she has a sweater weather trio, which has some really nice looking socks. So yeah, check her out. Okay, next we have another pair of socks, and I just posted a picture of these on Instagram this morning, and I in my caption I said I think this is my new favorite sock pattern, and I really mean that. I love these so much. And they are the Fletching socks by Jessica McDonald, and I knit this pair. I cannot remember if I had started these on my last episode or not. I knit these so quickly. I knit almost, so we were camping last weekend and we were there for 3 days, and when I camp I knit a lot because I'm sitting more than when I'm at home. I think I knit 1.5 socks while we were on that camping trip. So this is Patons Kroy sock yarn. The main color is Flax, and the light, like off-white color is Muslin. I love this color combo. For some reason, I'm having a hard time finding Patons Kroy. Michael's craft stores and Joann craft store or fabric store used to carry way more colorways of this. I think Hobby Lobby carries quite a nice variety. I was about an hour away at Lily's allergist appointment, and there was a Joann Fabrics there, so I stopped in there, and that is where I found this Flax and the Muslin actually. My closer Michael's and Joann Fabric stores do not carry Patons Kroy. I'm so sad about that because they used to, and I love this yarn. I've knit multiple socks out of Patons Kroy. It's a sport, well, they categorize it as a fine, and they give it the number 1, so that would be like a fingering weight yarn, but it is not. It's a sport weight, and I always go down in my cast on stitches when I knit with this, and I always go up in my needle size. So normally I knit with a size 0 when I use fingering weight yarn, and I usually, for my foot, I cast on 60 stitches, sometimes 56. When I use Patons Kroy, I use a size 2 needle, which is what I used for this particular pair, and I cast on usually like 52 to 56 stitches. The pattern, I made the adult small, and it has 6 different sizes from baby through adult large, and the pattern for the adult small, which is what I knit, tells you to cast on 52 stitches. So that's what I did for this. I did do it a little bit different than the pattern as far as like how long I made the leg, because I had a coupon, and I'm like, Amber, don't buy more than you need. So I bought 1 skein of each, and this is all I have left of the Flax. I I was knitting thinking, oh no, I hope I don't run out, which I could go buy another skein. And I want more now that I know that this is a really good yarn match for this sock pattern. I want to knit more of these. I love this sock pattern so much. I think it'd make really nice gifts because it's sport weight, so it goes a little bit faster. So I have a ton of the muslin color left because, you know, I just did the toe and the contrast and then the cuff. But yeah, so because of that, because I thought it might be tight, I knit the leg shorter than what Jessica says to do in the pattern. So after I did the 1x1 ribbing, I did 4 rows of stockinette of the contrast, or of the main color. Then I did the color work chart, and then I did another 4 rounds of stockinette before starting the heel flap and gusset, which she writes it so that it's longer, like I said, but this worked for me. And that color contrast, so my last pair of fletching socks I made, I just shared a couple of episodes ago. They were made with tuku wool, and they were very low contrast, and they were also much larger. So I think the gauge on those were bigger because I knit them on the same size needles, used the same size. Well, let me just grab them so I can compare and show you guys. Okay, so you can see that these are significantly bigger than these, and they're both, this is a sport weight, and especially down through the foot here, like it's a lot bigger. So if you watched that episode when I talked about these, I said I was going to just make them like house slipper socks, and they're too big to wear in my boots. These I think I could wear in most of my wintry shoes and my boots and stuff. So I really recommend this pattern. She actually wrote a sweater pattern called the Fletching Sweater. She wrote that first, and it is also made with DK weight yarn. I actually was thinking I would love that sweater knit with these yarns, or I'm sorry, it's called for sport weight yarn. I would actually like to knit that sweater in this flax and muslin, and just buy a larger quantity of it and knit the sweater up in that. And I may do that. I'm thinking about that. I actually have multiple colorwork sweaters I want to knit that I'm going to talk about in that special colorwork episode. So I just have so many, oh my gosh, I have so many ideas and so many things I want to knit. And it's because it's the time of year it is. I'm just like, I've been flooded with ideas and inspiration, and I know I can't knit everything. And then I start to feel frustrated because I can't. My goodness. I know you guys know. I know you understand what I'm talking about. So, yeah. Yeah, I think that's all that I have to say. Highly recommend this pattern. Go buy it. And I also recommend this yarn, even though it's getting harder to find. I found a source on Etsy, at least for here in the United States, and I think that the shop was based out of Detroit, Michigan. So I think I might order some more off of there now that I know what a good match this is, and maybe make some of these as gifts. When I purchased this yarn at Joann's, it was $8 a skein, and this is a 50 grand skein, so it has 166 yards. So, I mean, I feel like that's a little bit much for a commercial yarn. However, I had a coupon that I used, and on this particular Etsy shop, which I will try to remember to link down below, I think the skeins were $5.49 a piece. So that's more, I feel like that's more reasonable. And they had different colors. So they had some solids, as well as the marled ones that I made socks from, the marled ones as well. So yes, that's it for the fletching socks. All right, then I knit a hat. I knit a hat that I've been wanting to knit with yarn that I knew needed to become a hat, and I'm trying to find, oh, here it is. This is from Olivia of This Handmade Life. I have multiple bags of hers. She actually embroidered this. I think she sent this to me as a gift. Isn't it beautiful? Wait, is it focusing on my face? It's so beautiful. And it's lined with this really pretty botanical. She still has an Etsy shop and she does updates, and I don't know if she has anything in her Etsy shop currently. But yeah, I love her bags. I think she's probably one of my favorite bag makers. I definitely have more of her bags than anybody else's bags. Okay, so I told you earlier that I had something else to show you from Haulin Hoof Farms. And some of you who have been watching me for a while may remember this yarn, this bright yellow cheery yarn that I purchased in the early spring, I'm pretty sure. And I purchased it because I wanted to make a hat with it. I wanted to make it a fun, obviously yellow is a cheerful color to me. I love the color yellow. I wouldn't say it's my favorite color, but certain shades of yellow are most certainly, they rank up there with my favorites. So this is by Haulin Hoof Farm. And it is a fingering weight. This is their homegrown yarn. And they dye their yarn with heavy metal free acid dyes. So yeah, this does not have like a color or a name or anything like that. It doesn't even say on this what type of sheep they have. It just says naturally raised sheep from their flock. And they are out of New Mansfield, Ohio. So we're next door neighbors as far as states go. This is 4 ounces, 600 yards, so a lot. I hope you guys are probably hearing all the banging in the background. I hope it's not super loud. Ian's emptying the dishwasher. And I almost yelled out to him, hey, can you not do that right now? But he has school. He's in college. He's a sophomore in college. So he needs to get going with that stuff. So I need to just let him do his thing. And hopefully the banging isn't too much. Okay, anyway, I knit this beautiful hat from a free pattern by Pearl Soho. It's called the Lovely Ribbed Hat. And it's a 2x2 ribbing. And you knit it, I pretty much knit it as long as I wanted. I just tried it on as I went until I got the brim that I knew I would like. And here we go. So isn't that so cute? I love it. It's going to be super warm because it is 100% wool. Now I will say that this yarn is not for the faint of heart. It is very rustic feeling. It has a ton of grip. Like it's super sticky yarn. It sticks to itself. Like, look, see, like here we go. Oops, super sticky. You can probably see it up close. See? Okay, so I would never be able to wear a sweater, and I'm pretty, well, I shouldn't say never. That's maybe not true. I feel like I wouldn't want to wear a sweater that I was going to be wearing right next to my skin with this yarn. It probably ranks up there with, as far as like its texture, with the Lopi yarns that are more scratchy, that I would not wear next to my skin either. I would have to wear those as overgarments. But for my head, like this doesn't bother me on my forehead. But it is very sticky. So I just want to put that out there. But I love the finished project. The finished product. I'll put my head down. You can see the decreases. Now originally I was going to knit this long enough that I could fold the brim over like twice so I could have an extra thick on my over my ears, but look, I didn't like how that looked. It was like too bulky. So folding it over once and giving me a double layer is actually, my head's getting very warm right now just from having this on. So I think this will be plenty warm enough. Maybe not for the dead of winter when I'm outside walking and it's like, you know, snowing and really, really cold, but definitely for fall and early winter and early spring, I think this will be wonderful. So, and I really, really like it. It's very beautiful. So I think I only used about half of this. So I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of it. I don't know yet. It will go into my stash and I'm sure eventually I will figure it out. I used a size, what is this? Size 2 needle, 16-inch needle. And it was perfect. As I was knitting it, I was kind of thinking, oh no, I think I cast on, I think there's 3 sizes for it, and I cast on the middle size. It was 128 stitches, I believe. And there were times when I was thinking, oh, it's too wide, I should have cast on less stitches. But sometimes I get nervous about hats on their decreases. If I cast on, like, it was 96, 128, and then there was the large, which I knew that would be way too many stitches for me to cast on. But sometimes, you know, because I thought, well, if I just cast on somewhere between the 96 and the 128, I'll probably get something that I'll be happy with. But then I was like, yeah, but when I get to the decrease section, I can see that it's written in such a way, because it gives these, can you see how those decreases are, like right here, right here? I just wasn't sure if I'd be able to figure that out without too much work, which I've told you before, I knit for calmness and peace. I'm not a knitter that gets all nerdy with numbers. I only adjust numbers if I absolutely need to. I like to knit and let my mind veg out. Okay, so I went with the 128, hoped for the best, and it turned out perfect. Yes, so Pearl Soho, lovely ribbed hat with the Haulin hoof. And I think that hat is actually for a sport weight yarn, but I used fingering weight and it worked out perfectly fine. Okay, and next up, my special guest, my daughter Lily. For those of you, she's back. It's been a while. So she's my vlogging buddy, and we have not vlogged since, did we vlog? We vlogged in the spring, right? Did we?
I thought it was last, like, winter.
We
like
did fall, and we did Vlogmas. I feel like we did some spring vlogs. I did spring vlogs. Maybe you were just in a couple of them. I was probably just in a couple of them. Okay, maybe that's what it was. But, so she is here because she is wearing my last finished object that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Gotta
show it off.
Yeah, so she's going to show it off.
Look how cute.
So she had been, I think I talked about this last episode because I had not started this yet, but I had the yarn. And she had been looking in stores for a crochet top, and she found a couple because I guess that is in style right now. But none of them really were exactly what she was looking for. So were you on Pinterest?
Yeah, and it just popped up in my
Okay.
feed.
Yeah, so she was on Pinterest. She found this picture of this, I'll just put it up here. I'll put the picture she found, and she sent it to me and said, I want this, or something like that. Can you make this for me? So
it ended up being a pattern.
Yeah, thankful. Yes, so it was actually a link to Etsy, to a pattern on Etsy. So I bought the pattern, and then she and I found yarn. Was it last week? No, 2 weeks ago we found yarn.
Yeah, Joanna Fabrics.
Yeah, Joanna Fabrics. It was this yarn.
That was Joanna.
Nope, Joanna Fabrics. Knit and crochet. Is that focusing? There we go. This is 100% cotton yarn. And I bought 3 skeins. And I think I only used a little over 2.
It's so soft.
I might have only used 2. Yeah.
Good quality, I feel like.
Yeah, it's very nice and drapey, which is what I knew the yarn needed to be for this. It's called, I should tell you, it's the Castaway Tunic. It's always hard to tell. This is Wild Spring Fiber Arts. Now, if you guys can see this really not very nice quality photo here, this is a lot longer in length. Lily did not want it in length. She wanted to be able to wear it as over, a cropped, over like bodysuits and
like dresses.
Yeah. So,
it's a little bit.
Yeah. Do you want to kind of like get up a little? Okay. So basically, this is super easy. I was slightly nervous. It had been a long time since I had knit a garment. Or I'm sorry, this is what I do because I knit so much. Since I had crocheted a garment. So I was a little bit nervous, but it was a super easy pattern because you literally knit, you literally crochet 2 panels, 1, 2, and then you hem them together a bit in the front and the back to make your neck hole, like your opening for your head. And then you add on just sleeves. Here you can see the sleeves. and then you go and you seam the sleeve and the side together. So it was extremely easy to do. And then because Lily knew I was knitting it, I was able to have her kind of, so I made my first panel, I made my chain. You make a foundation single crochet chain, and then I just kind of draped it over her to see like the approximate length I would need for the panel. And then I think I got...
And, like, we weren't sure at first, like, it was going to be too short or not. But, like, I'd say, like, do it a little bit shorter than what you would think, because it has stretched out a bit.
It does, because it's cotton, so it will stretch out a little bit. Yeah. So I wrote notes, which I need to put this in my knitting journal, because I'm still keeping my knitting journal. Well, knitting crochet journal. I think... Like, the cast on that she gave for the, like it's not called a cast on, is it, in crochet? Your chain. So she said for the smallest size to do 129 stitches to make your chain, okay? I only did 87 stitches to get this cropped length like this. Now, Lily is very petite. I would not do only 87 stitches. First of all, I'm not making this for myself because I don't know. It just looks cute. I don't know that I could pull it off, but I mean, maybe I could. I don't know that I want to pull it off. So, but if I were making this for myself, I am like 5'8.5". I'm not. I would knit it longer than 87 stitches, but it worked really well for her height. Which, what are you, 5'5" or something like that? Yeah.
A little short.
Yeah. So
it's also V in the back too.
Oh yeah, so turn around and show the back.
I have so many mosquito bites.
Yeah.
But
see, and then you just seam there. Okay. So she is really, really excited. And how do I know that? Because she put it on and she danced around the house in it.
That's a normal reaction for me if I'm happy.
Yes, if she's happy with something, she will dance around the house. And she just kept telling me how much it was her favorite shirt ever.
I love it. It's because it's light too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I could wear it on a really hot day and it'd be totally fine.
Yeah, and it's cotton, so it's a good fabric for that. And you could also wear this. So she also has a couple of like turtlenecks, long sleeve turtlenecks.
Fitted turtlenecks.
Yeah, that she's also planning on wearing this over. So it's not just for summer. Mm-hmm. It's also going to be good for the fall and winter as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So hopefully you'll see more of Lily here this fall. We have been
vlogs.
Fall vlogs. She loves vlogging with me.
Dude, it's like my favorite.
Oh, that's so sweet. I can't vlog during the summer. I'm just too busy. I cannot take the time to sit down. First of all, I can't take the time to carry my camera around everywhere and film. That's the first thing. And then to sit down and stick it all together because it's so much editing when you vlog. I just can't do it. But in the fall, when, I'm not as busy outside, that's when I feel more drawn to vlog and do those kind of things. So hopefully we're thinking of some things to do for some fall vlogs, kind of like we did last year. And then the plan is to do Vlogmas again.
Vlogmas? You've been doing Vlogmas for 2 years now.
Is it only 2?
Maybe it's longer.
It's been longer,
but we gotta keep it going.
Okay.
I love Vlogmas too.
Yeah. So
keeps us entertained.
It does.
Cooler months.
It does. That is one thing. We were just talking about that yesterday. We went thrifting yesterday and we both majorly scored at the thrift stores.
It was really good. I don't think we've ever had so much luck.
We have never had a thrifting excursion like that. We found some really awesome fall outfits.
Found like really pretty colors and like good quality.
Yeah. Yes. And it was really exciting. But we were talking about how fun it was because in the summer we don't really go do things like that as much. We went twice this summer, and the first time I was sick with a stomach virus, so I didn't feel well at all. And then the second time she had a migraine, so she didn't feel well. So yesterday we both felt really good and we had a really good time, and we found lots of awesome scores at the 2 thrift stores we went to. So we do more of those type of things in the fall and winter because we just both are itching to get out of the house. Yeah. So hopefully we'll have more content, vlogging content for you guys, for those of you who like to watch that. I know that not everyone's into that. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for coming and showing your beautiful face on my podcast. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about before I end this episode is a knit along that I am going to be co-hosting with Diana and Katie from the Fruitful Hands podcast. I love those ladies. I always get excited when they upload a video. I've talked about them on here multiple times. I'll link their podcast down below. You can go check them out. I feel like they post probably on average every 2-ish weeks, but they just put up an episode on Sunday, and they do a lot of theirs as premieres so that they can live chat with whoever's watching during the premiere. I never catch premieres. I watch my podcast in the morning. That's pretty much the only time of the day I watch podcasts. Maybe in the afternoon if I'm taking a little break and find a few minutes to knit. But when I was watching their episode this morning, and I didn't even get the whole way through, I got to the part where they were talking about doing a knit along for a ranunculus sweater. And you guys know how much I love that pattern, the ranunculus pattern. I've knit multiples of it. And I was planning on knitting one already. Another one, like a wintry one, which I'm going to show you my yarn that I'm going to be using here in a couple of minutes. But they said that they wanted to do a knit along for that. And so I messaged Diana on Instagram and I said, I would love to co-host that with you because I am planning on knitting another one. I've talked about that pattern so much on my podcast, and I think that would be so much fun to co-host with you guys. So we are co-hosting a ranunculus knit along, and it is going to run from the first day of fall, which this year is September 23rd, and it's going to run through November 30th. So that's a little bit over 2 months. And this pattern, every one I've knit has just gone by so quickly. Whether I do long sleeves or short sleeves, it does not matter. The weight of the yarn, I don't think I've ever knit a fingering weight. Is that true? I don't know. Besides, every time I've knit the sweater, it just flies by. It literally flies by. So, we want to invite you all to participate. And I know that a lot of you who watch my podcast also watch the Fruitful Hands podcast as well. So, the way we're going to do it, now, guys, this is my first time hosting a knit along, which is kind of crazy because I've been podcasting since 2017 or 2018. I think it's 2018 because this is my 5th year. And I've always kind of been intimidated by doing a knit along because I don't know how. When it first started, I remember a lot of them being held on Ravelry, and you had your chat forum, and the person who was hosting had to get on there all the time and interface with the participants, and it just seemed like so much work to me. Not that I don't like communicating with my viewers. It wasn't that at all. It just, back then also my kids were a lot younger, so the homeschooling stuff I was doing was way more hands-on. But now I feel like it's so much more easy because most people just do the knit alongs using hashtags on Instagram. So this is what we're going to do. And I was texting with both of them this morning, so there are still a few wrinkles to iron out, but I want to get it out here because it does start next week, which is crazy that the first day of fall is next week already. So September 23rd, start knitting your ranunculus, and you've got till November 30th to finish it. And we're going to do it on Instagram. And for those of you who don't have Instagram, I have an alternative route for you to go. So just hold on a second. But on Instagram, post pictures of your ranunculus in progress, and then also when you've completed it, using the hashtag FallIntoRanunculus2023. Katie and Diana came up with that hashtag. I can't take any, what's the word? You know what I'm talking about. This is another symptom of the perimenopausal stuff I have going on. that I alluded to last episode. Anyway, so yes, we would love to have you participate. I know that there are many of you who have knitted already. I know that there are many of you who want to knit it. So I'm super excited about it, and it is something that I felt excited about because I knew that it would be another sweater that I would want to knit, and I was already planning on knitting. Now, if you don't have Instagram, if you're not on Instagram, because I realize not all of you are, you can send a picture of your finished object to my email, which is down below, alovelyyarn@gmail.com. And I think what I'm going to do is put together a little prize for anyone who's completed. So you have to have a completed ranunculus by November 30th to be eligible for the prize. And then what I will do is, this is where we need to iron out some wrinkles. So Diana, Katie, and I need to talk about this, but I think it would be fun to have a little prize. And then we'll pull from the completed projects on Instagram, and then any completed projects that are emailed to me. And we will randomly pick a winner then for a little prize. We may have to just keep that to the United States, which I hate to do that, guys. I really do. But postage is astronomical. It's astronomical to send stuff here in the post in the United States. Like, it has gone up so much, and it is even more so. It's just so expensive to ship outside of the United States. So I'm really sorry, but again, another detail that needs ironed out with Katie and Diana, but I'm thinking that's probably how we'll want to do it, just to keep it more affordable for us. So let me show you what I have, and I've had this yarn kind of set back for a winter ranunculus. So let me just show you what I have here. So this is what I'm going to use because I want a white fuzzy one. Long sleeved. I'm knitting mine long sleeve, and this is, I've had this yarn for such a long time. This is Abundant Earth Fiber Arts, Joseph and Annie. It's their, I think this is from Sheep. Yeah, I know this is from Sheep that they have, or had, because like I said, I've had this for a long time, and it's in the cinnamon. I think they also had a pepper colorway as well, but this is 90% US Merino and 10% Washington Targhee. It is a, I would say this is a DK weight, and then I'm going to hold it double with this Surrey alpaca from, I got this off of Jody from Fiber Hill Fleeces. Yeah, so I am gonna knit up a swatch just to make sure that I like the fabric I get from this, because if this ends up being just a tad bit too thick, because this Surrey is a bit heavier in weight, I also have some natural mohair, silk mohair, that I could also use. So I think I'm just gonna knit up swatches for both and see which one produces the fabric that I would rather have for a ranunculus. But yes, that's gonna be my ranunculus for our Fall into Ranunculus 2023 knit along. So I hope you guys would join me. Leave any comments or questions down below about that. Like I said, I wanted to mention something because it starts next week on September 23rd, and I'm hoping to film another episode next Monday, but what if I don't? I don't know. So I didn't want to wait until next week to announce it. So just know it's coming up, runs through November 30th, and I'm super excited to be co-hosting that with Diana and Katie because I love their podcast. They're a mother-daughter duo, and they're super sweet, and I have said this before, I think we would just hang out all the time if we lived closer. They live in Kentucky, so they're 2 states over and down. Not too incredibly far. So Katie and Diana, if you're watching, we need to make it a point to meet in the middle sometime. I don't know when, because we're all busy, but eventually. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, so that is everything for today. Thank you guys so much for watching and following along with me. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of your support through the comments. I love reading your comments. I'm getting a little bit behind with responding. I'm so sorry about that, but I'm reading them. I know everybody says that. I am reading them, but I really am reading them. I'm just a little bit behind on responding to all of them, so I do apologize for that. And then, yes, like I said before, my social media links and email are down below. And also my Ko-fi account, which I have had multiple people support me through that. You guys, that means so much to me. And I even have a few that are set up to do like a recurring monthly donation, which is just, I just really appreciate it. Just know that. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for joining me. And I hope you're having just a ton of fun with all your creative energy, and you're making beautiful things and things that are making you happy and filling your spirit with joy. And I will talk to you next time. Goodbye.